Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Revenue Alignment Conference virtual edition for 2023. So happy to welcome you on board. And yes, we are recording all the sessions, and they will be available over at Tenbound and on our YouTube channel after the session. So I definitely encourage you to stick around and see all the sessions. You can kind of get your PhD in GTM today. That's that's my promise to you, or at least a miniature version. And definitely dive in. We've got the chat box open. We've got the Q&A open. I'm running a poll right now, and would love to make this as interactive as possible so that we can really get the most out of the session that we have today. So Melissa's excited. I'm super excited to dive in. Revenue alignment, if I could say it, is something that we've been working on here at Tenbound for, I want to say, going back to like 2019. And it's such an exciting topic, and it's such a great way not only to obviously drive pipeline and revenue for your company, but also to widen your skill set and your expertise and really become a leader in our industry. And it's tying together a lot of different topics. It's not only just sales development and sales, but beyond that, marketing and customer success and product development. It all really aligns to create a predictable pipeline and revenue engine at the company. And we are really on the forefront of this what is still kind of a new concept, and especially in the software industry, the thinking of things holistically as a go-to-market strategy and a revenue alignment strategy is really taking hold. And as tech goes, other industries go as well. So I think that this is something that is just a very exciting topic, and it's something that we've been working on and hopefully have some expertise to share with you over the next few hours. And first and foremost, we couldn't make this happen without our great sponsors of obviously Tenbound and Cloud Task Marketplace. And I definitely would recommend everybody go over and check out Cloud Task. It's a marketplace for outsourced go-to-market SDR agencies, as well as freelance SDRs and salespeople. So bringing those together to be able to achieve your revenue targets in a very fluid way, versus having to hire a lot of people and then upsize and downsize. You can use Cloud Task to make that happen for you. And if you're an individual contributor and you're looking to freelance and come and go, in this global marketplace that we have, definitely sign up for Cloud Task and get in there so that you can make yourself available for freelance SDR jobs. So thank you everybody so much for attending, and especially our esteemed speakers today. We've got Mark with TAC, Sergio, Tony, Travis, and Hillary, and the whole team, as well as myself, going through what they're doing as far as revenue alignment and how they're being successful. So really excited to dive in. So what are we seeing out there? I really want to talk about the three big trends that we're seeing in sales technology and how they really move into the overall alignment of your revenue team by going from silos of marketing, SDR, sales, success, to an overall go-to-market strategy that's really coordinated and aligned. We're seeing a proliferation, and it's interesting because the overall market is struggling right now in the tech industry, but there's been a huge explosion of sales technology tools obviously over the last few years. I'm running a poll right now in the general chat area of how many sales technology tools are you using right now, and I'm sure that the number is between 5, 10, 10 plus. There's been so many tools developed over the years, and especially the motion where you can sign up for a sales tool to be able to help you without even having to go ask your boss for the money. There's free trials and freemium products that you can just use and fill in a gap in your sales process without even asking anybody. And all the way up to huge enterprise solutions that are run by Fortune 500 companies. There's just been so many sales technologies developed, and they have been um, in a lot of organizations grafted on the old school mentality of go to market. So that's the way that organizations were set up 20, 30, 40 years ago in like a factory setting of marketing is doing their thing, SDR is doing their thing, sales is doing their thing, and nobody's really talking to each other. Let's see if I'm losing my internet here. So, the sales technology has been sort of grafted on that old school way of doing things, but it's moving more and more to aligning all these functions into one seamless motion. And I'll give you a teaser, one of the ways that we see this trending over the next few years. So, big trends that we're seeing in our clients at Tenbound, through our advisory services, and then also just the industry research, is you have something that's developing called the Seller Action Hub, and that was quoted by Dan Gottlieb at Gartner, and it's two forces coming together: salespeople having a lot of tools, either that they plug in themselves or the company buys for them, not really integrating well, not knowing what's happening in different parts of the even sales process, not to mention what marketing's doing and other parts of the organization. And also the macroeconomic trends of there's so many companies, how do we pay for all these things? We had a zero interest rate environment for a while, especially in the tech industry, where you could just buy tons of tech tools and plug in everything. And now, the bill came due kind of at the end of last year and earlier this year, and people started to say, we need to cut these and get rid of a lot of these tech tools and consolidate. So there's those two macro forces coming together. The other thing is the rise of the dark funnel, which is all the things that are happening out there online that your prospects and customers are doing that you have no idea of what behavior they're involved with. So I'll go into it, but the way that you can potentially leverage that has come to fore in some of the new tools that are coming out. And also, it's an old statistic, but I'd be surprised if it's less. They I think it was Gartner that estimated over 70% of the buyer journey happens without interacting at all with an SDR or with a salesperson at the beginning. And you and I both know, if you're gonna check out, some service or any product, you're doing a lot of that research online on your own without even talking to a salesperson. And overall, they call that the dark funnel. So the other thing, and mainly the reason that we're gathering today, is the key role that revenue operations plays in the sales technology trends. And obviously, in revenue alignment, the key role that this person or this team plays in coordinating all the different people, processes, and technology that go into really leveraging the sales technology stack. So it's old way, uh, plug a bunch of stuff in, hope for the best. He's using this, she's using that. Uncoordinated situation, new way. It's mapped, it's strategic, it's leveraged, and it's humming on all cylinders. So we call that the rise of RevOps. Sorry, anybody knows me, they know that I'm a coffee guy. So, okay, let's dive in here. So, um, over 10 years ago, for example, it was amazing that we could go from just using Salesforce to actually using a sales engagement platform. So we went from spreadsheets and post-it notes and stuff like that and like lists in Salesforce to now somebody plugged in SalesLoft or Outreach, etc. And now there's a one pane of glass to be able to manage all of your sales activities and make sure that you're staying on top of things. And over the years, those have developed into this amazing portal, for salespeople to be able to manage their day. At the same time, conversational intelligence. So all of our calls are being recorded. All of our interactions are being recorded. We're gathering all this amazing data, especially with salespeople. They're talking to customers every day. And that data is in this gigantic pool that's now becoming more and more structured and useful for not only being better at sales, but creating products and better marketing messages and all these different use cases and getting that data. So that trend has really accelerated. Then you have revenue intelligence, which is analyzing every part of the funnel down to the minute detail to make sure that you don't have what they call revenue leakage. So there's not, leads falling down. My old boss, Doug Hall, said that I used to keep the leads in my trunk of my car and not distribute them out to anybody. And it wasn't that I was trying to hide the leads. It's just somebody didn't plug in the right thing in Salesforce. And so there was a bunch of inbound leads, going into a place nobody knew where they were. So imagine the millions of dollars that could have been potentially won if we knew where those were. So being able to analyze all those came up. Revenue intelligence. Obviously, data solutions have pushed forward to the point where, everybody complains about their data provider, but it's a lot better than it was a few years ago. You can get names, phone numbers, emails, and contact information, and even more intelligence on those individuals to be able to have something, to first of all, just be able to make contact with people and then have something interesting to say. So those have pushed forward. Finally, revenue alignment, aligning, revenue enablement, uh, aligning with the marketing message that you're trying to put out, the sales playbooks, the training that goes into training SDRs and salespeople, and putting that all into one package instead of like a binder that someone hasn't updated in 5 years. So those have come up. And where Dan Gottlieb sees this going and what we're starting to see is emerging players that essentially bring together all of these technologies into one place. And they either have data that's piped in from their own sources, or you have to get your own data, but they essentially take care of everything else. They've got your sales engagement platform. They've got your revenue, their conversational intelligence. They've got revenue intelligence. Some of them have data, some don't. And then they've got the enablement as far as the sales playbook is built in there. And it's always the latest and greatest. And then they've got actual information coming in from different sources to help you know more about the prospect if you're an SDR, or about the customer if you're in sales or customer success. So all that stuff in one. The only thing that's not there is the CRM. So, unfortunately or fortunately, we have to still have that CRM because that does all the other stuff and is essentially like a big file cabinet. But you could see recently in the new releases that are coming out here in the conference season, I know that HubSpot is attempting to have a complete system like this, a complete seller hub, it included in the CRM, and obviously Salesforce takes it from a different perspective with the apps exchange store, but they're building all these things to have a one-stop shop as well. So we see the big players that are moving along to the point. There's about 6 of them. Won't name names right now, but they're essentially creating this seller action hub that helps to align all these different point solutions into one thing. And so as a SDR or a salesperson, you just have this one-stop shop that you can work in every day, and then all that intelligence is going back up in dashboards to the executive team, so they know what to do. Marketing knows what to do based on the intelligence that they're getting. Even customer success and product management gets intelligence based on the interactions that you're having in the marketplace. So it's really exciting to see that happen. Now, how do we leverage the dark funnel? That's a whole other crop of tools that are coming up in trying to understand what are people downloading? Where are they hanging out as far as blogs, pods, webinars? Where are they getting this information? What are their favorite websites for specific industries that they're trying to find? Where do they get information through private Slack groups and on Reddits and different communities that are out there in the market? And then which product review sites do they really trust and are ones that where they get the most value, and what are they specifically looking at there? And essentially trying to get a readout on that dark funnel, and so you can get the intelligence on that. And there's a whole crop of tools that are coming out that are they're intent data providers, and you're probably familiar with a few of those. They can, at least through their technology, see which accounts in your database are performing some of these dark funnel research activities. They can give you at a high level which accounts are on there and what they're doing. And so that's useful to some extent, especially if you're thinking about aligning with marketing, because marketing can then understand which accounts are producing that intent, and then they can start to run air cover campaigns and different digital and live campaigns against the accounts that you think are most interested. But the more important trend that we're starting to see is they can triangulate the account with an actual person. And especially if the person has had any interaction with your company in the past and have left, digital trails that lead you back to that particular person. So now you can actually start to see not only is the account interested potentially, but that person is coming back and they're starting to tick up behavioral activities that tell me, hey, now is probably a good time to either call them as an SDR or potentially re-engage them on the deal if they went dark. And it's a much more powerful guidance than just trying to figure. I mean, it's crazy to think about, like in the old days when I come from, like you would just get a list and hopefully this is the right number of accounts and the right people. But now, not only is the account starting to tick up as there's some potential interest there, but there's an actual person there who is doing dark funnel research. So some of those companies are very exciting. Revenue operations is, I think, it definitely a trend that we've obviously been seeing. There used to be siloed activities, and there still are. I mean, a lot of companies still do this, but there was sales operations, and they were sort of attached to the head of sales, and they were running commission reports and territory analysis and giving essentially, working for the VP of sales to give them the reports and the data that they need to be able to optimize the sales force. Then you have the marketing ops team who was running the marketing automation platform and making sure that everything was aligned specifically from a marketing perspective. But there wasn't a lot of interaction necessarily beyond, QBRs and stuff like that with the sales force and the SDR team. This is totally changing now. A lot of the most forward-thinking companies have combined those operational roles into revenue operations. And I'll just speak about the alignment of marketing, SDR, and sales because it goes even beyond that. But if you think about the proliferation of tools alone, um, there's a, a number of integrations that have to take place, even if you have the one-stop shop tech solutions. There's the dark funnel monitoring that we talked about, where the customers are making potentially, uh, 80% of their decision before they even talk to you. And then there's the importance of maintaining the customer journey, not just from them finding out about you, talking to an SDR, and then becoming a customer, but especially in a subscription model, making sure that you're really on point with your communication as they're a customer and knowing, their behavior, what they're looking for, and getting that intelligence back to product development. So the, if you could think about it, we're talking about old way silos of people just taking tickets and creating reports and stuff like that without really talking to each other, to a full strategic growth model infrastructure. And I put here, especially early on companies, they come, hey, I've got, product market fit and I need to go to market now, and do you know any good SDRs? And I, you know, I sit back and go, wait a minute, like that in the days of smile and dial and, call 500 people and hopefully somebody, answers the phone, that might have worked, I guess. But nowadays, if you're forward thinking and you have the resources, I would start with hiring a great revenue operations person, having them get everything set up correctly, get the top tools that you can afford, get the integration set, get everyone ready to be enabled, and then once that infrastructure is created, and then you start to add people into the mix that will actually execute on the strategy. That's when you get the SDRs and the salespeople. But I there's what I see out there, and what would be the best scenario in my opinion and perspective. But most companies are still, we're marketing, we're SDR, we're sales, we're different. We don't really talk to each other and we do our thing. And there's a lot of finger pointing and stuff like that. So that's why we're here today, right? To figure out how to go beyond that. So big picture, if you're familiar with the Tenbound market map, this is version 9. This is from like last year, and there was such a big explosion of AI tools and all these different consolidations. A lot of these companies have gone out of business, to be honest, or been kind of sold off for assets at this point. So we need to do a major facelift on the next market map. But there's two trends that I see happening, that we've talked about so far. Is one, an emergence of the big players that have the one-stop shop for everything, even marketing, SDR, and sales and beyond. And that seller action hub emerging. And then, people can only make so many decisions. And it's like, when I talk to people, they've heard of a company, they've heard good things, they've read the reviews, they've been to their Slack group, and they're just like, I'm going to pick one, two, or three, and it'll start to consolidate into these big players. And then on the flip side, it's so much easier now to start a software company with the rise of AWS and cloud-based storage, and you can click a button and start a company. You could go start a company right now in like 5 minutes, and then you layer that on a Chat GPT, API, and you got a API, prospecting company. In I'm making it sound easier than it is, but the point I'm trying to make is there'll be a big explosion of specific point solutions that are essentially, giving it away for a free trial or a freemium. And some of them will be super useful. Some of them you'll forget about 5 minutes later, and you won't see the company anymore, and those will spin up. So it's a weird dichotomy of sales technology, because at one end there'll be more consolidation of tools for like the bigger companies, and then at the lower end there'll be an explosion of specific point solutions that you can look out for. And we're starting to gather that here at Tenbound. We just redid the website. It's beta soft relaunched today. There's a lot of bugs still that we got to work out, but we're starting to collect a good amount of information and helpful, useful uh, data on the sales tech environment. So we're not pretending to be experts in every different software that's out there with a million categories. We're really, really focused in on gathering that market map into one place and creating a useful resource for you to be able to see who are the top players, who's getting the best traction, and how do I shortlist the right sales technology for me. So we're really excited about that. Um, Try it out. It's like I said, we're working out some bugs right now, but watch this space, because this is going to become more and more useful for you. Um, the one question I've quoted myself here, I've did this in the last one. Amit. Oh, Amit. Oh my gosh. You've been at a few of the conferences over the years. I remember you. Thanks. You're asking, have you evaluated LinkedIn AI solutions? Oh, I mean that, like, if you think about the overall macro trend, Amit, LinkedIn AI solutions definitely fall into the more point solutions category, because I don't think I can wake up and brush my teeth without getting like 10 emails from people that have developed a LinkedIn AI solution. And I got to be honest, um, I I've tried a few, and some are better than others, and I'll try to update Tenbound with the one that really has been able to deliver. I get a little bit scared about applying a robot to my AI, to my LinkedIn, because I've cultivated that network over the years, and I don't want them sending random messages to like friends that are on LinkedIn. So that's a little bit strange, but that's just me. Um, but we'll add that. The one last thing is, this is a big question, is has the proliferation of sales technology helped us to sell more? I think it has. I think overall it's improved our pipeline efficiency. It's improved the performance that we can get to people. But if you go over to rep view, for example, and you look at quota performance, I mean, overall, people right now are at like 50%, and it's some crazy number like that. So either maybe we hired too many salespeople, or the macro environment is too hard right now. But if you look at the numbers like that, it's like, I don't know, not really. I think it comes down to training. So I have it. You can sign up for Tenbound Plus, and we have a number of self-paced online modules and access to our community, where if you're struggling, if you're having trouble, if you're not selling enough or setting enough appointments, there's actual people in there that can help you out, versus just trying to figure it out all by buying a new tech tool. So I would highly recommend you go sign up for that today, and I'll see you over there. So next up, we have a power-packed session of trainers, thought leaders, etc. I've got Tony from CloudTask. He's going to be talking about creating a revenue-aligned engine at 8:30, which is in about right now. So I will see you over at Tony's session, and I really thank you for coming today and participating.